Hello, everybody. This is Steve O'Reilly and Gail Saunders with SkinnyPost.com. We are excited. NFL football is about to begin. Gail is very excited as the Eagles are making big moves and doing big things. We're going to break down a lot of the big stories that are going on in the NFL right now, talk about some of the trades that happened, some of the trades that didn't happen, obviously some of the big signings that just occurred, and all the ongoings in the league right now. Let's just start right away with the Eagles. They're the hot topic. Obviously, they're making a big splash. They've brought in Nnamdi Asomugha, who is probably the highest touted free agent, and they went and got him. Then they made a big trade for Kolb, as everybody knows, that went to the Cardinals, and brought in DRC. So now they have three, very good cornerbacks out there. Then they go and they get Justin Babin. Then they go and they get Colin Jenkins. They're just doing things like it's a video game, really. Talk to us about it, Gail. I mean, obviously you're down there in Philly. You're excited. The people in the streets are excited. Yeah. Obviously you're in a good mood. Tell us what's going on.
Well, being down here in Philly and pulling in the atmosphere, it's crazy. Philly radio is off the chain right now. It's probably the biggest free agency signing since T.O. and Kearse. I think it tops it by a mile. I mean, with guys like Colin Jenkins was the icing on the cake. Nnamdi was the cake in itself. And bringing in guys like DRC, and you brought in Vince Young to back up Mike Vick. There's a couple signings, but overall it's been bananas.
And they got some draft picks too. I mean, don't forget that. They loaded up, so they have a lot of flexibility to do some things if they want to, make an even bigger splash. They have ammunition too, which is always a good thing.
I mean, having 2 second-round picks, you can control anything next year in the 2012 draft. So, a lot of value today.
Right. Before we get going any further, I got to give a shout out to Best Route, Devon Best. Was nice enough to invite me over to hang out with him and spend some time with them guys over in Hard Rock, and they were doing their thing. And the Best Route showed me a lot of love over there, so I wanted to make sure I give them a shout. Make sure you go check out @Devon Best on Twitter. Click his background. You can get to his website and see all the good things he's doing in the community. Anyway, let's go ahead, fire right through. The second topic we want to jump in is Chad Ochocinco and Haynesworth are both now in New England. As everybody knows, they're already practicing. Haynesworth is not. There's some talk there. He's out of shape. He's not quite ready yet. But still, a couple marquee guys, big-name guys. Patriots do their thing, get them at a lower value. What do you think about those moves, Gail?
I mean, for the value of the trades, they traded a couple 6s and a couple 5 fifth-round pick for Haynesworth. I was kind of shocked that he went to the Patriots, given that they have to run the 3-4, and he wanted to play in a 4-3. I know he wanted out, but kind of shocked about that. And Chad Ochocinco, great signing. He now has a chance to have an elite quarterback, something that he's never had before. He can't say anything else. He said he landed in heaven, and it looks like he's in the perfect spot for his services.
I only got 2 things that I would add to that. The 3-4, you're right, but honestly, the Patriots are going to run a lot of different fronts. I mean, you're going to see Will Fork and Haynesworth right over the center and just causing havoc in the middle. They're going to do a lot of different things. So I'm not too worried about what front they run or what defensive system they're not set up and structured into anything. And as far as Chad Ochocinco, I think he is just a really fun-loving, good person. I think people need to realize that. I think that there's really no issue whatsoever there with him. People of New England are going to embrace him. He's just a great guy as far as being nice and outgoing. He does tend to have a flair for entertainment, and that's fine. He's not hurting anyone. It's not really harmful. He's not getting arrested. He's not getting in trouble with the law at all. He stays at home, and he gives a lot of charities and stuff. So I think that he's going to fit right in. He runs great routes. He's going to add a dimension to that team, and Brady will find him. If he's open, he'll get the ball. So it could be a real good thing for the Patriots.
He did, in fact, say he's going to tone it down, though.
I think he has to a little bit, but hey, he's growing up, and that's expected. As you get longer in your career, you learn how to handle yourself as a professional. Peyton Manning signed a huge contract, as everybody kind of expected he would, and probably deservedly so. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks we've seen in our lifetime. What do you think about the big bucks that he's making? Did you expect him to maybe tone it down a little and try to bring in some talent so he could win another ring, or did you think he would go for a money grab, if you will?
I mean, at this state in the game, this is Peyton's probably last big paycheck. Why not go out with a bang? If I was Peyton, I would leave it for other guys and bring in some pieces. They did bring back Adai today. Isn't the sexiest signing, but he's a core guy. He knows what they do best. I still think they need some. I mean, think about last year's offense. They're working with guys that you never even heard of. Jacob Tamme, guys like that. Blake. Oh, what's his name? Blake White or something.
Yeah, I never even heard of him. You're right. I mean, you are right. They did the most with the least in some regards.
They're going to bring back their core guys that were injured, and I think he's in a good position.
Yeah. Well, out of everything that's going on, what's one signing that you've noticed that kind of maybe went under the radar a little that could have a huge impact? With everything the Eagles are doing and everything some of the other teams are doing, they may be taking the spotlight away from a signing that maybe you just say, wow, that's a good pickup. That's going to, have some pay some rewards down the road. Anything come off the top of your head?
It's got to be the Nnamdi signing. That was off the radar for everybody. For the most part, they jumped in at the last second. The deal happened. There's only 5 people that basically knew about the deal. And Nnamdi's agent kept, the Eagles front office. There's only 5 people in the front office that knew what was going on. And at the last minute, they came back and they kept the Eagles abreast of what was going on, and they let it happen. Yeah. And he wanted to be here. That was the main thing. That was. But I think around the league, you're seeing teams look at what the Eagles have done, and I think teams are opening their eyes right now, trying to figure out, okay, what should we be doing? Or I know teams are right now at the moment asking, have we done enough? But you have to give props to the Eagles, given the situation with the lockout and not having a normal free agency to sign these type of caliber guys in 3 days, 4 days. You got to give hats off to that. I mean, it's crazy.
It is crazy. One of the signings that I really liked, I think that kind of went unnoticed, but I think is really going to make a big impact, especially in that division, is Darren Sproles to the Saints. I just think that he adds an element to that offense, especially with the rookie they have coming in, and Ingram kind of be the bell cow, if you will, getting the bulk of the carries. And then you add a Sproles. I really think he's Reggie Bush, but more effective, with less glitter and glamour around him and distractions. He's more of a blue-collar, always kind of been doubted due to his size, but I could just see him going there and really doing things in the return game, doing things with some screen passes, and I don't know. I just think that could be one of those signings that just you look back at when they're maybe battling the Eagles in the championship game or battling the Packers to get into a championship game. Or I just think that he can be that extra piece that lets them compete with the Packers, the Eagles, and some of the better teams in the NFC.
I mean, Sproles. I agree. I mean, Sproles is the jitterbug. He's a guy that can come in on third down and catch passes. I mean, you also have a guy like Lance Moore who does some of the things that Reggie Bush did. And then you bring in Sproles that does a little bit what Reggie Bush did too, but he can run and he can go out for passes and do special teams as well. A guy that does wonders for a passing type offense. Looking for a change up back.
What player that's already moved teams, and don't say Nnamdi Asomugha to the Eagles, but what player that's moved teams has hurt the team that they've left the most? Who do you see in the league that's gone away from their team that you say, man, that really left a void with them? What team would you say? Anyone come off the top of your head there?
I mean, off the top of my head, if I'm thinking, most might not say it right away, but Donovan McNabb leaving the Redskins. I mean, that he's leaving the Redskins without a proven starter. Right now the Redskins are coming in with Grossman and John Beck. So I don't know. I have to say the Redskins right now with McNabb.
Mine is going to be a tie, and they're both wide receivers, but I could see these receivers leaving their team hurting them. I think the Sidney Rice leaving the Vikings, that could hurt them a little bit. I just think that he was just another weapon that you had to account for with that offense that already had a lot of weapons. And now you can kind of roll some coverages, maybe help out on the Percy Harvin side. It might make it a little tighter there. And also out in Arizona, Steve Breston. He's a player that quietly went about his business, and he helped Larry Fitzgerald get more looks. Larry's always going to get attention. He's always going to get double-teamed. The safety's always going to know where he is. When you have a guy like Breston in there that can do some things, especially in that deep third of the field, I don't know. They may end up missing him more than they think come week 6, week 7 of 2011 season.
I mean, when you look at the Cardinals roster, I mean, who's that? Who's really pushing Larry Fitzgerald on the other side? I mean, you have Early Doucette.
Yeah.
Can you name anybody else?
Not off the top of my head, I can't.
No.
If I thought about it for a minute, I could, but you're right. I mean, it's not. The Eagles, like you said, and the Packers, to be honest, have kind of changed the game as far as loading up. Both of those teams, I mean, you got to imagine Green Bay won a Super Bowl, and they're going to get guys back like Finley. They're going to get guys back like Ryan Grant. And they're going to have that swag that, hey, we can do this. We're the best, and we just got better. And I think the Eagles think if we're going to win it all, we got to be loaded too. So it's going to come down to, in my opinion, those two teams. But I could see the Saints competing. I think they have the weapons to do it. But right now it's a 3, maybe 4-team race in the NFC with a couple of younger teams coming up that are going to do pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest difference from the Eagles from last year and hopefully this year, they ran away from defense last year, and that was the main thing they wanted to change. They got rid of their defensive coordinator after 1 year. They're not going to have a second cornerback be the weakness. They have 3 top tier cornerbacks. So you're looking at the Eagles team that now instantly in 3 days has a legit defense. They're still lacking a middle linebacker to lead the defense and maybe a little hole at safety. But other than that, defense could be the difference this year.
All right, well, let's wrap it up and talk a little bit about the Broncos. Kyle Orton trade fell apart. So some people say it's dead. I don't know if it is dead. I don't think it is. What is your sense on what Denver's going to do at the quarterback position with Orton especially, and how does Miami tie into that?
Well, I think Miami knows that the leverage that the Broncos have with Orton could be running out. Everybody knows that the Broncos are going to go with Tebow. I mean, you could just have Orton there to linger, stay. He's a quality backup. And he could start on a couple other teams. I think Miami's hoping that the Broncos might, in fact, just, let him go for cheaper than what they want.
Yeah,
I mean, even with, if I was Miami, I wouldn't be trying to get him. Kyle Orton, sorry.
No, I wouldn't either. And here's why. Kyle Orton is a very efficient quarterback. Kyle Orton could win on a team like the Bucks team back in the 2000s with the SAP team that killed people, or the Ravens team that won on defense. He could win on that kind of team. Be efficient, win a 13-10, right. But he's not going to beat one of those defenses going against them. If you look at, let's say he goes to the Dolphins and he plays very well all year and they get to the playoffs, great, but he's not mobile enough and athletic enough to run away from a Suggs, to run away from a Harrison, to get away from the exotic Jets blitzes that you're going to see, or the Patriots front seven that's going to be collapsing the pocket. He's not athletic enough to beat the best teams at the highest level of football. Now, can he put up great stats? Yeah. But there's a reason that coaches evaluate him right away and they move on. It's because you're not in this game to have good stats or to be efficient. You're in this game to be the best and to win a Super Bowl. And he's just not that caliber. He doesn't have the tools athletically to get that done. Tebow is an unknown. But I really think and honestly, I just see Denver restructuring everything. I think they're going to sell what they have while it has value. Right now, Orton has value. He's coming off a dink and dunk offense, and that threw deep a lot last year. They did. But Orton could get some trade value. Tebow, let him play for a year and see what you got. If you don't have anything, then you're in the Andrew Luck sweepstakes. If you do have something, now you got something.
I mean, you never even know. I mean, right now we're thinking that Tebow is going to be the starting guy. After this season, Tebow could be gone. I mean,
sure he could. Yeah, that's what I mean. You give him a year to get some trade value. You increase your asset in him, and then try to maybe convince a team to take a flyer on him that needs a quarterback.
And you're also that's a McDaniel guy. This is not a John Fox or Elway quarterback.
Right.
So Elway is a Stanford guy. He sure as hell will love Andrew Luck.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I would have to agree. Well, anyway, I'm Steve O'Reilly, and that's Gail Saunders. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll definitely be back to keep you updated as everything gets going pretty fast. We're definitely trying to keep in front of some players and get some interviews lined up. They're busy getting going with what they got to do in such a short, off season for them. But we got a lot on deck at Skinny Post. Want you to stay tuned. Appreciate you stopping by. Once again, Steve O, that's Gail Saunders. We're giving you the Skinny 24/7.